Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to the NEP Summer Series presented by RCL TV. I'm Austin Belke, joined in the booth by John Peters. We've got our friend Ryan Salvatore behind the cameras, turning the knobs and pushing the buttons. Last week at Five Flags, 2 weeks ago at Five Flags, Brent Roy qualified on pole and led every lap on his way to the win, followed by Steve Daddio in the second position. Round two of the Summer Series has us in the desert of Arizona at Phoenix International Raceway. John, what can you tell us about Phoenix and what can drivers expect for tonight?
Austin, I'll tell you, Phoenix is a challenging racetrack. It's one of those awkward in betweens. It's not really a full mile and a half. It's also not really a short track, but you get different elements of both of those things at this racetrack. You've got straightaway speed on both ends. You've got a dog leg that you can actually use and go outside the bounds of the normal racetrack. But then you get down in those corners and they're flat, they're slick, they don't have a lot of grip. So you're going to see a lot of drivers moving around, trying to find some different lanes to work in, trying to find some grip to get their truck hooked up. And I'll tell you what else, Austin, the biggest factor at Phoenix Raceway is something you cannot see. That's air. These trucks are going to be dealing with air all night long. Air with the truck in front of you, blocking the air to the front of your race truck. Also, air in the side drafts down the straightaway. And also, if you get that truck out in front, you can use the air to your advantage to keep the field behind you. All of that will play out in front of us here tonight.
Thanks, John. Yeah, Phoenix, just about as big of a short track as short tracks come traditionally. They say every track 1 mile and under is a short track, and Phoenix Raceway comes in at just 1.00 miles on the dot. So go ahead and get into the race analysis here. So drivers are currently out there trying to put down the two fastest laps they have in qualifying. Just your fastest lap counts are not going to average them. They just have two separate laps to go ahead and set their best one, followed by 60 laps of racing. They've got two tire sets available in the pits. We'll see if they use them this week, John. 2 weeks ago, nobody went down pit road. At least the guys running up front, nobody went down pit road and even got anywhere close to changing a set of tires because we went green for just about the last 80 laps of that race.
Yeah, and sometimes you'll see tracks that really wear the tires out aggressively, and sometimes we go to tracks that just doesn't happen. And you can't really get a feel for that until you get into the run. You feel like your truck's changing, and then you have to roll the dice and gamble either when that caution flag comes out or when you see guys starting to come down pit road and change the strategy up. And those are usually on the fly calls. And I'll tell you what, we don't have the benefit of a crew chief on the box in the NEP series. Either the crew chief on the box is the guy behind the wheel, and that can really speed up decision making and make it tough to choose the right strategy to go win the race. So that'll be interesting to watch. And you'll even see it play out in qualifying a little bit, where the track will change from practice into qualifying. The speeds that guys have run all day here out at Phoenix in the heat, we're now starting to see the sun go down. That's going to make this track a little bit quicker. We're likely to see the track temp go down, the grip to pick up, but sometimes that also makes guys overdrive. So it'll all play out. We'll have to see how it unfolds, but it'll be fascinating to watch.
And I saw it switch over there on screen and went from kind of dusk to now it's completely dark outside, not a single star in the sky. So now the drivers are gridding up. We'll see if we can't go ahead and get the starting order up on the screen. Having a couple technical difficulties for right now, but the iRacing timing and scoring is always at hand for John and I, so I'll go through the first 10 cars and pass it over to old John Peters. Ryan Libby is going to start on the pole. He's got Rob Peterson to his outside. Jeffrey Bradway and Corey Casagrande line up in the second row. Steve Daddio rolls off in the fifth position, followed by Zane Farrell, who started in sixth. Tim Shinaski starts in seventh. Rolling off to his outside is Alexander Spinato. Cody Wilson and Ryan Messer round out the top 10, John.
And hey, a sneaky big story on that 10th place starter, Ryan Messer. Used to be called Big Orange, had a change of paint scheme in the offseason, now sponsored by ServiceMaster. Big Lemon rolling off there in 10th. Brent Roy, he also hails from Canada. He's in the 229 Autosport truck. Probably had no speed in practice, but he'll drive to the front later tonight. He starts 11th. Adam Henry is to his outside in the 62. He starts 12th. Showtime. 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 Paul Strickland Jr. He rolls off 13th in the Vidane TV 94. Gentleman Jeff Brown, he starts 14th. He's one to watch in the FF2 Engineering Dodge Ram, and Jared Adams will round out tonight's starting field.
Yeah, 15 cars on the grid for tonight's 60 lap feature race here at Phoenix International Raceway. John, like I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, Brent Roy qualified on pole and led every lap on his way to victory 2 weeks ago at Five Flags. Any chance Ryan Libby can do that tonight?
Oh, certainly. Libby's always fast. It's actually his strength, I think, is speed, especially in the short runs. And with these trucks, if you can control the race and get the lead, like I said earlier, you can use the air to your advantage to keep those trucks behind you in the rearview mirror. I think Ryan Libby has a great chance to do that tonight. We'll have to see if he can keep that 46 up front.
Yeah, Libby, one of those guys who's always been fast on the short tracks, one of those perennial favorites when it comes to the NEP series, any of the ones they put on, not just the Cup series. He was very successful in the Super Truck series we had a couple of years ago. Just always one of those drivers to watch. iRacing Pace Truck ducks out early right here. Got to go down pit road, down the backstretch. This track was famously reconfigured a couple years ago, maybe about 7 years ago or so. They would have been crossing the start finish line right now down the back straightaway, but now, of course, it's just over here past the original turn 1 and 2. Here comes Libby. They get the green flag. It's out. It's in the air. Rob Peterson's lining up to his outside. Going to go really wide. Boy, look at that. They're already fanning out, using that dog leg like you talked about, John.
Jeff Bradway all the way to the inside there in the dog leg. Rob Peterson scrapes the wall. These trucks are already on edge, which you can tell. I'd be interested to take a look at that 13 truck. That was a quick move on that start. We think it was in the bounds, but it might be worth a look as he tries to track down your race leader to complete lap 1.
Yeah, going to be difficult to tell just how much you can cut that dog leg as we go into it. Already looking to the inside there is Ryan Messer. He's going to take that one truck all the way down to the bottom of 3 wide now as they go into turns 1 and 2. Look out for Corey Casagrande just behind them in the 7 machine.
I'll tell you who understands how air works in these trucks is Big Lemon, Ryan Messer. By the way, Brent Roy just knocked the wall down, something fierce. And I tell you why that's happening. You're going to hear me say it all night. Air. Brent Roy likely got caught in the wake of a truck in front of him, and it looks like we have a yellow flag.
Yeah, caution out already on the speedway. Looks like we might be getting a replay of that here.
Yeah, it looks like that truck just totally breaks free on Cody Wilson. Looks like the grip just kind of went away on it a little bit there. Sometimes you drive in the corner too hot, the right rear gets loaded, and that Whiskey River Toyota just kind of came out from under him.
Yeah, so not quite the start to the race that Cody Wilson would have wanted. And John couldn't help but notice there. You saw Brett Roy, just like you called it a couple seconds before that replay, tried to bust down the outside wall there. And I have to imagine a lot of what we're seeing right now, these ill-handling trucks, is in part to that dirty air and also to the fact that these drivers haven't seen the track in this condition yet all night. You touched on that earlier in the broadcast to say that when they were practicing and qualifying, it was dusk. Track was a little hotter, air was a little warmer. Now it's completely nighttime and everything's a little bit cooler. It's going to change, maybe minutely, maybe in a big way, the handling characteristics of these trucks.
Yeah, you're exactly right. You put both of those two factors together and you end up with a really dicey start to these races. And you normally see that right when the green flag drops and trucks will start to move around, slip and slide, hit the walls. You also have the first time they've really raced in a pack all day long. They've been making single car runs and trying to keep their space to run heaters in practice. Well, now you're in a pack. Now you can't see, you don't have air, and the track's different. And all that really contributes to a lot of tough conditions that make it exciting for us up here in the booth.
So just a quick rundown of the field. Ryan Libby is still in the lead. He's led every lap so far after qualifying on the pole. Jeffrey Bradway is still to his outside. Steve Daddio is third. Rob Peterson is fourth. Ryan Messer has already gained 5 positions. He rolled off in the 10th spot, now riding around in the 5th position. John, is it any surprise to you to have gained that many spots?
Not terribly surprised. At what I was gonna say earlier when we saw some 3 wide moves is there's one guy in the field who really understands the value of clean air. It is Ryan Messer. It's Big Lemon in that one truck. He is really aggressive early in the race, so he can get that control that's needed, and he'll fight to keep it. So it'd be interesting to see now that there's been a couple laps put on these tires when you have gone through a full heat cycle. We're going to get another restart now. He's right behind Steve Daddio, who's one tough customer. If he can actually make that progress stick, or if he kind of gets stalled out there.
It is worth noting after Brent Roy hit the outside wall there off of turn 4, went down pit road, got service, now catching up to the back of the field. So we'll see him no doubt fighting up towards the front end of this field in probably about the next 10 or 20 laps. iRacing pace truck already down pit road. We'll wait for Ryan Libby to take the green flag once again to start us off on lap number 6. Not quite fanning out like they did the first time. You see him going more single file for the first 3 cars. Ryan Messer already ducking down to the bottom, trying to take advantage of that clean air. The only truck ahead of him down there on the bottom of the racetrack is Jeff Bradway. They all go single file right now for about the first 3 cars, and then it's single file again as you go further back through the field. And now the first 7 or 8 cars, it looks like, are single file. Ryan Messer now taking a look to the inside of Steve Daddio as they go off into turn 1.
Big Lemon had a look down to the flat part of the dog leg, but also thought better of it. Steve Daddio is also trying to make that outside line work. You can see him kind of getting his left sides on the seam of the racetrack. There is a little bit of grip there if you can make the truck stick, because you'll get the launch off the corner like we just saw the 99 truck get right there.
Yeah, it's so important that you get a good launch off of turn number 2 there to help propel yourself down that back stretch. And the other thing, John, we haven't talked about too much yet is just how many options these drivers have as they go into turn 1. There's a lot of different ways you can run those 2 corners there on that side of the racetrack. You can enter high, cut low, enter high and stay here. And of course, you've seen a lot of guys lately go for that slider line. You enter kind of shallow and let the truck drift out towards the wall as you exit the corner.
Yeah, and the most important thing you can do if you're the 1 truck or if you're the 99 trying to chase down the 13 is you have to offset the front of your truck when you get in the corner from the truck in front of you. You at least want a headlight that's poking out into the clean air if you can't get a full nose. But you can also see guys try different lines on entry versus exit to stay out of that wake. If you get stuck behind it, Austin, you're a Michigander, right?
Oh yes, hope caution out on the racetrack.
Another yellow.
Looks like it again happened off of turn 2. Looks like Jeff Brown was involved. We're going to get a replay here. Oh, Cody Wilson going for a loop off the corner there, and Jeff Brown, the unfortunate bystander, had just nowhere to go.
That's a hard hit for Jeff Brown in that 27 truck. I do hope he's okay. Looks like Cody Wilson also showing a little frustration there. Hopefully we can get the safety crews out there as soon as possible, but these guys may not want the safety crew. They may want to just pick the concrete out of their teeth and keep going.
Yeah, it looks like that's what both drivers are going to do. Looks like Paul Strickland is also making his way down pit road. And just before that happened, oh, excuse me, this is live. Ryan Messer, looks like that was Adam Henry deeper in the field coming down pit road. John, I don't hate this strategy. Set yourself off sequence a little bit, come down, put 4 fresh Goodyears on it.
It's a fascinating move. And look, in the NEP Summer Series, you don't have points on the line. In the official series, there's points for summer, it's bragging rights and such, but this gives you an advantage to try to really try something different. I think that's what Ryan Messer will do. It's not just tires as well, it also has an impact on fuel strategy that you can play later on in the race, depending on how the cautions fall. So it does give you more options, but it also depends on the fall off on these trucks. We've run not that many laps so far in this race. Has the tires fallen off enough on the other trucks to actually make progress back up through the field? Ryan's feeling that out in his truck. He knows what the different variables are to make that decision, and we'll have to see if it works out for him.
So far, the first, I'm going to say, 11 or so drivers stayed off of pit road. First driver to come down was Jared Adams in 10th, so make that the first 9 drivers stayed out on the racetrack. The last 5 came down pit road. Jared Adams, Paul Strickland, Ryan Messer, Adam Henry, Jeff Brown, Cody Wilson. Might be wrong on that. I think Paul might have been the first driver to come down pit road. So yeah, only the last 4 guys. Jeff Brown coming back down to get service again. See if Cody Wilson follows him. He might not have as much damage as Jeff does. Sort of the second unfortunate thing for Jeff Brown there. Not only was he caught up in someone else's accident, he sustains more damage than the person that caused it.
So I'll come back to my Michigan analogy here once we get back going green. But I can't wait to land this with our viewers tonight, Austin. I'll let you take it from here.
iRacing pace truck goes back down pit road. Running order as it stands right now. Libby, Bradway, Daddio, Peterson, Farrell rounds out your top five. Casagrande, Shanoski, Roy, Spinato, and Adams round out your top 10. Here going to start lap 13, Ryan Libby has led all of them so far after starting on the pole. Looking once again to get that green flag. It's out, gets a huge jump on the rest of the field. Let's see if anybody can take advantage of that. Bradway already has Daddio down to his inside. Let's watch what Peterson does here as they head towards turn one.
And it's music to Ryan Libby's ears to have 3 trucks side by side behind him. That gives him a chance to get out a little bit, create some space. He's now got a 2-truck length lead on Jeff Bradway as they come back to complete that lap.
Yeah, Libby did a wonderful job timing that restart there and made sure not to spin the tires. I think caught the rest of his competition sleeping, quite frankly, on that restart. And look at how much Bradway is trying to cut that dog leg, just trying to shorten that up, right? Hypotenuse, of course, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, and that's exactly what Jeff Bradway was trying to do there.
Just out of the corner of my pupil, I saw Brent Roy get right hooked into the wall. I think he misjudged the gap a little bit as they went into turn 1, and you can see the damage back on the right front of that race truck. Just what he came down pit road to fix. He'll have to come down and get that fixed again as we take a look at the RSAL TV replay. Big Lemon, Ryan Messer, was also tucked up to his right rear quarter. I think this is after the damage is there.
Yeah, it must just be after. Try to get that replay. We're having a little bit of trouble here with our SDK overlays and the replays. So hopefully you folks at home can bear with us here, but the rest of the broadcast should be able to go off without a hitch. See if we can get another replay of this. Still having issues trying to get live. See if this is it. It looks like it is. Jeff Bradway still stalking Ryan Libby. Steve Daddio is in the 3rd position, and then just behind those 2 drivers, looks like Peterson is falling a little bit victim right now to Zane Farrell. Zane is all over the tailgate of that truck for 4th position.
Yeah, and you can see him peek down to the inside there, and he's going to work on that spot. Now, this is a tough pass to complete. If that 4 truck can just hang on the right rear quarter panel, it makes it really tough on that car on the bottom. But as you can see, he's got the momentum. He clears for the spot, and Corey Casagrande knocks down the wall. Man, turn 2 is treacherous for these guys tonight.
Yeah, I think a lot of drivers just overzealous to try to get back on the throttle. They know how important it is to get a big run off of turn 2. And for some of these guys, it would be, John, I think it'd be more okay if they were in a lot of dirty air when they were going up wide and smacking the wall outside on the exit of turn 2. But for a lot of these guys, I mean, Corey's in clean air right now.
For sure, and if you put yourself in the cockpit of this 1 truck right now trying to make this pass, remember, he has a tire advantage. He came down pit road on that last caution, but look at how that truck changes when it's right behind the 7. You've really got to get a big run down the straightaway. You got to sail it into this corner to complete this pass. He's going to go down to the yellow line. Corey's going to stick it tight on his door and make it hard. See that truck push up the racetrack, and now Corey's going to have momentum down the straightaway. That 7 truck is one of, if not the hardest trucks to pass in the NEP series, and this is kind of why. Even though you have a tire advantage, he's going to keep it right on that quarter panel. He's going to try to side draft back down this straightaway and make it at least another corner. That Big Lemon in a big slide. Another corner that Ryan has to deal with that, and that just overall slows down his charge to the front.
Yeah, you could tell Ryan Messer really sent it into turns 3 and 4 there. Forced Corey Casagrande up the track just a little bit, and then that just brief bit of contact they made down the front stretch got them both a little bit loose. It looks like Messer just did a bit better job hanging on to that thing and preparing himself before he entered the corner. That moves him up now into the 5th position. So, John, take the viewers at home through what happens when you're in the dirty air. What does Dirk feel like? Is it, what's going through your mind?
Thank you, Austin. That's right. You're a Michigander, so you'll understand. And I know a lot of folks at home maybe are from the Northeast or the North in general. You ever been driving down the road in a snowstorm and you think the conditions are fine, you go to take a turn, and all of a sudden you hit a patch of black ice and your car won't respond? Your wheel freezes, your car slides, and it's out of nowhere, and you have that moment of panic? That's what it's like driving one of these trucks in dirty air. You settle down in the corner and you can't see it, you can't really anticipate it, and all of a sudden it's like your truck just hits ice. It'll either slide up the racetrack or the rear tires will hit that and come out from underneath you and make you really loose. And most often, if you don't respond quick enough, you can end up sideways or knocking down the wall like we've seen guys do here tonight.
Ryan Messer still on the attack, trying to take away the fifth position now from Peterson down to the inside. We have the overlays with us now. And just as I mentioned that, Steve Daddio was trying to make a run for the second position. He thinks better of it. He's going to slot back in line there just behind Jeff Bradway, trying to get that second position. Looks like Ryan Messer is still fighting with Rob Peterson there for that fifth spot. That time at the line, he had it by just ever so slightly that much.
We saw Zane Farrell in this similar kind of position, and he could get clear of this four truck in one corner and make that pass. And that's what Ryan Messer's struggling to do a little bit here. When he is in clean air, he's running the fastest laps on the racetrack, but it's just not that simple at a track like this. And he's going to have to continue to fight to make this pass.
Yeah, I think it also is hurting him right now too. That Rob Peterson is, I think, picked up his pace quite a bit. I think he was fine to ride for a while. He was okay to be in the fifth spot, but now that he might be relegated back into the sixth position, he's kind of getting a little higher on the horse there. Looks like Ryan Messer is inevitably going to take the spot on those fresher tires. But of course, the longer this run goes on, the disparity between the two life cycles of the tires is going to get closer and closer and narrow up. So Ryan Messer really has to get everything he can right now out of this set of tires.
Yeah, and like you said, that disparity is going to narrow, and Ryan had to use a lot of tire to make some of those passes there. So that advantage that he did have is not quite what he would hope it to be. And we'll have to see how much further he can get. And if you look up ahead, you can see that old wily veteran in the 99 truck, Steve Daddio. He did make the pass for second. He has done a really nice job in this run managing his tires so that we're 27 laps into this race, he's still moving forward. Now we'll see what that gap does to Ryan Libby out in front. Not only has Ryan had the benefit of being in clean air and keeping trucks behind them, it's also easier on your tires when you can do that as well. So we'll have to see just how much further Steve can get before he ultimately stalls out, or if he doesn't.
Yeah, I'd like to see what Zane Farrell does as well in that 14 truck. He's been getting closer and closer to that 13 machine of Jeff Bradway. And John, it's one of those things where I don't know if the 14 truck is really fast right now or if that 13 truck is backing himself up through the field. But Ryan Messer now all over the tailgate of that 14 machine. Looks like Zane's going to give him the opportunity to go to the high side, and I guarantee Ryan Messer is loving the sound of that.
That's a veteran pass right there by Big Lemon. If you can get enough speed to the center of the corner to just grab the right rear of that truck in front of you, you can pull them back when you get on the exit of the corner and make a much cleaner pass. Because we've seen him try to do this on the bottom of the racetrack now to get past the 7, to get past the 4, and that's a much tougher pass. And you can see him now as the caution is out once again. This is an interesting caution, Austin, because we're halfway through.
Yeah, halfway through, I think we're going to see a lot of trucks come down pit road. And unsure why the caution came out. It looks like Corey threw it. We'll have to try and see why that was thrown. It might have been just looking like something was going to happen, and then the drivers inevitably saved it.
Another interesting storyline that I've been watching in this race is, if you remember, Brent Roy made a charge through the pack on the first run before he tried to karate chop the wall and visit the hot dog stand off turn 2. Put a lot of damage on that race truck. He is dropped all the way back to 10th. And it looks like we got some takers down pit road.
We sure do. Yeah, Daddio, Bradway. See if anybody else is. It looks like just those drivers. Nope, excuse me. Rob Peterson, Corey Casagrande, Adam Henry, and Brent Roy bringing the uh, Flow Racing Toyota Tundra down pit road once again. No doubt he's going to try to get all of that damage fixed if he can on this pit stop. But like you said, John, there's a lot of damage on the right front, and even more after he got right hooked into the wall in that last green flag run.
Yeah, that's all bad news. And you can see the race off pit road here is super interesting as this is going to shake out. I imagine Steve Daddio will will come out first. They've dropped the jack on the 99. Here he comes, right there. Jeff Bradway is down and away. Looks like 4 tires for both of them. 4 tires for Rob Peterson. Same thing for Corey Casagrande. So a bit to be expected there. But you only had 5 trucks stay out until now.
Yeah, the rest of the field coming down looks like Zane
Wow.
Farrell, the 40 machine, that Bucky's ride of Tim Shinosky, and I can't tell who that last driver is there. It looks like that's the 43. Yeah, that is the 43 machine of Jared Adams going down on pit road. And our Sal, the director, feeding us a little bit of that information, mentioning the pace truck comes out extremely fast. So sometimes it will catch drivers out in terms of how often the pit road opens. And of course, those drivers not supposed to pit on this lap, so they come back down. Looks like, though, they did get all their black flags cleared. So they are going to pay the penalty, right, of pitting on that second go around, but they're not going to have to pay the penalty of serving that black flag. One thing I did want to mention, though, John, before we got into all that pit sequence stuff, was Ryan Libby's best lap was on lap 7. It was a 27.288. His last green flag lap they were running, he was running just over 28. So he was running a 28.1. So his tires are going to be significantly worn compared to the rest of the field. Let's see what Steve Daddio and Jeff Bradway can do. They're the first 2 trucks on new tires. Of course, Ryan Messer on slightly newer tires than Ryan Libby, but those 2 drivers' tires are much older than pretty much the entirety of the field behind them. Let's see what these guys can do as they come through turns 3 and 4, getting ready to take the green flag once again to start lap 33. Libby with a great job on the restart, but you can see what those new tires are doing for Steve Daddio and Jeff Bradway, able to stay with him much closer than they were before. And of course, Big Lemon there on the outside of row number 1. He's just a master at this whole timing the restarts thing. And look at the new tires coming to play. Steve Daddio going for the lead as they come off of turn 2.
I think that's a mistake by Ryan Libby to leave the bottom open for Steve Daddio. Ryan Messer's not on the same tire advantage as those guys. I think you need to protect the bottom there and not let that happen. But we've had a quick caution come out that's going to re-rack him again.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get an eye. It looks like Jared Adams was the cause for caution. We'll see if we can get a replay of that. Just another one of those drivers victim.
Oh,
The exit
hard
turn
hit.
2. Jeff Brown, that once again, the gentleman getting a piece of that wreck. Very unfortunate for him. Same there for Cody Wilson.
This is a tough introduction to NEP for Cody Wilson. I do feel for him quite a lot. He's a member of the Nitro Designs kart racing camp. Been racing karts for 11 years, 3 championships as part of that, and also crews on the 56 of Evan Boyer, who comes out of 229 Autosport. But I'll tell you what, we've seen a lot of drivers now lose handle of their trucks on the opening lap of a start, which gives you a little indication on what Steve Daddio was feeling there to go get the race lead. These tires are glazy. They don't have a ton of grip in that first lap, so you really got to be careful. And that's impressive that he was able to go straight to the bottom, pick up that lead really in one corner. But as you can see, Ryan Libby knew he was beat. He tried to stay out on old tires. He gave up the lead right away. He's going to come down pit road, which is really not an advantage because now he's all the way in the back. He's lost all his track position, and he's basically on the same tires as everyone else now.
Well, John, you talk about him losing the lead. Looks like he also might have lost his internet connection because it says he's manually disconnected from the race. So I don't think he's going to make another appearance. So that will hand over the 1 position to everybody else that's still out there on the racetrack. Yeah, Ryan Libby disconnected from the session. He still had a lot of race left. Who knows what would have happened? Of course, he stayed a tire set. He might just put on a set of tires now, maybe take a chance on a caution in 15 laps or so and hope you're off the strategy compared to everybody else. But too late for that now. He's already left the session.
There could be a little Carson Hocevar there where he's gonna pull that thing down pit lane and then tell everyone on Facebook that he led a bunch of laps tonight. We'll have to see later on. We could not get a word with him. He actually left out at the back of the infield care center. The media was waiting, but he wouldn't talk. So that's a big storyline. That's a big contender of this race that's now not there. I do think this puts Ryan Messer in an even worse scenario because now he's really on an island with 20 lap older tires in the field. I'd be really interested to watch what he does if we get another caution to try to come in and equalize that advantage. But now Steve Daddio, he's in the catbird seat. He can really control the race from here. I expect him to get a good launch and then put some distance on the field.
Yeah, John, if you're in the position of Jeff Bradway here, first car on four fresh tires, truck, excuse me, on the outside lane, what are your options? You basically try to tuck back in line, or are you taking it three wide on the outside of this big lemon truck on the first time we go into turn one?
You're gonna have to get a read. If Messer goes to the middle, go high. If he goes high, go to the middle.
Steve Daddy with an excellent launch there. Ryan Messer doing a great job to time it. Let's see where everybody fans out. 4 or 5 different lanes so far. Daddy going to come all the way up the racetrack, and look at Rob Peterson now going down to the bottom. Let's see if he can do anything with those 4 fresh tires he has compared to Messer's older ones. Well, it looked like Jeff Bradway just forced to stay in the tire tracks there. The one machine got all that dirty air. Now he's going to fall victim to Corey Casagrande as they head into turn 3.
You can see the line that Steve Daddio runs there really makes it tough on Ryan Messer, because Ryan commits to the bottom on entry. Steve leaves a little bit of a gap. He comes in about a half a lane up, and he turns that truck down to the yellow line in the center of the corner. And I'll tell you what, that's like brutally tight for that one truck coming off the board. You can see him starting to struggle. As this group now, from second all the way back to about 8th, has really tightened up quite a lot.
Yeah, no doubt. Really equalizing the field there, basically giving them all the same kind of wear on their tires is going to have an effect, and that's just what it is. Looking at the 13 truck here going to the inside of the number 4 machine. They're 3 wide behind him, though, for about the 7th or 8th position. Brent Roy goes through the middle there. Wow, what a move. There they are, just on the left side of your screen. You're watching right here Peterson. That's Corey Casagrande down on the inside. The 4 just lost a spot to the 13. Zane Farrell on the inside here. Brent Roy on the outside. Let's see who wins out in this battle.
I can tell you that 26 truck is a hurting unit with that damage on the right front. That's going to make that truck really tight, not want to turn in the middle of the corner. And you can see him doing everything he can to try to get a little bit of a draft off the 14 truck, but it just has not happened. And here comes Adam Henry.
Yeah, Henry now looking at the inside of Brent Roy. Not only is Brent going to be slower down the straightaway because he has that front end damage, he'll be slower in the corners as well because he no longer gets all the downforce. Henry, though, overdrives turn 3. Brent Roy does the over-under, I should say. He'll take the position back for right now. And how about Tim Shinowski? He's kind of just sitting back there in the weeds, kind of just waiting.
So here's the interesting thing to watch now as these drivers come back around and complete another lap. So look at the lap times and see the difference in speed of these race trucks. Last time by, they were all pretty much around the same time at a 27.4. Let's see when they come around this time what that looks like.
See Jeff Bradway there is taking away the 2nd position from Ryan Messer. Interested to see as the tires all get hot. His will get hotter than everyone else's, and sooner see how fast he falls through the field. The first driver right now sizing him up is Corey Casagrande in that 7th machine. Then it's Rob Peterson, then Zane Farrell there in the 14th.
The fastest truck on the racetrack that last time by was the 13 of Jeffrey Bradway, also tied with Zane Farrell in the 14 truck. Same thing this time by, Jeff Bradway about a 10th quicker than your leader.
Yeah, I don't know if Steve just can't quite find the pace in that 99 truck, or if he might be just saving his tires a little bit. You know, take a page from SVG's book. If this were a road course, only run as fast as the rest of the field makes you go. It could be what he's doing. I would hope so for his sake. Otherwise, his lead is going to be very short-lived.
That'd be my expectation. Steve Daddio is a veteran. His teammate Kenny Kibbe does that really well in the NEP series. If you can just put your truck out there about 5 car lengths ahead, watch where the truck behind you is running, try to take some of that line away, and then just maintain the gap. You'll force that truck behind you to burn up their tire, and even if they do get there, they're not going to be able to do anything with it. But even if you ride on board here with Zane Farrell, you can see you've got to paint this truck on the yellow line. That's where you get the momentum. That's where you can now pull up and side draft that 4 truck just a little bit. And you're going to shoot the momentum down the front straightaway. I dive this low off into turn 1 as the 4 truck really pinches him down. Carry a bunch of speed through the middle and now set yourself up for a good exit, but it's just so tough to complete that pass with that truck lingering on your outside.
Yeah, boy, we are spoiled for choice here. You got the 4 and the 14 battling, and then the 1 and the 7 just up the track from them. Ryan Messer trying to hold on to this track position. He's on the outside doing everything he can to make Corey Casagrande's life just a little bit more difficult. Corey, though, going to go up the track. The two make contact. He forces Messer up the track. They're three wide now between the 1 on the outside, the 4 in the middle, and Zane Farrell in the 14 all the way down in the bottom. Let's see how these guys sort it out as they go to turns 3 and 4.
Remember earlier on in this race, Ryan Messer went to make a pass on Corey Casagrande and drove in pretty deep in the corner, washed up, used some racetrack, and got by the 7. I think we just saw that come back around later on in this race. As now the roles are reversed and Big Lemon's dropping like a rock.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that comment there, John. I think what goes around comes around, and what went around just happened there to Ryan Messer. He's going to fall back now all the way just behind Zane Farrell there. That will put him into the 6th position, I believe.
Steve Daddio stretched this out up front to about a second lead over Jeff Bradway, and now with Mr. Corey Casagrande in 3rd, they're pretty spread out. So I think we're going to have to see if a caution flag falls here in the next couple laps. If that does happen, who has an advantage on a caution would actually be that one truck, because he can do something different than the rest of the field. It's always challenging when you're up front late in a race like this. If you're Steve Daddio, you have a lead to protect, but you also have a caution to keep in mind. But even if that caution does come out in the lead, good chance the guys behind you will do whatever you don't do. And there's a lot that goes through your mind at this point in the race, trying to weigh out. The best thing you can do is run clean laps, save a little bit of tire for the end, but make sure no one gets any closer. And I think that's what you're watching the 99 do right now.
Yeah, it's an interesting point you make there, John, because if we get a caution, all of a sudden, if you're Steve Daddio, you basically have to pit. You know, with the amount of laps these guys have on their tires, I mean, he saw what happened there to Ryan Libby. He passed him like Libby was standing still, so you got to pit. But if you come down pit road, are you taking 2? Are you taking 4? If everybody takes 4, you're fine to take 4 as well. But if you take 4 and everybody else takes 2, you're going to come off of pit road having gone, whoa, looks like they're getting a little argy-bargy there down the back straightaway. Number 4 pushing number 7 there. Rob Peterson giving Corey Casagrande a little bit of a shove there down the back straightaway. Not sure if that was blocking on the part of Corey Casagrande. Now Zane Farrell looking to the inside, 3 wide, a little bit of door banging.
This is as good as you could hope for on a Tuesday night in June, as these guys go absolutely bonkers to make a pass for a 3rd spot here. You've watched him change the spot 3 times. Rob Peterson is all over the racetrack. He's hit both of these trucks on every corner, high and low. And I can't believe they're all still pointed straight. And now look at him. He's going to go all the way to the bottom.
Oh, Corey
He's going to cut the dog
Casagrande
leg.
with a big old slide.
Unbelievable racing. And now Zane Farrell's going to put the wood to him down in the entrance to turn 1 and 2.
Well, I think what Zane didn't realize is the contact that was made from Peterson's front end to Farrell's rear end last lap wasn't on Peterson. That was Corey Casagrande shipping the 4 into the 14. So if you're Zane Farrell, you think, hey, that Rob guy was giving me the business going into turn 3 that last lap. I'll go ahead and show him what it feels like. Not quite how it actually played out. Looks like Corey has once again thrown the caution flag. Not quite sure what this is for.
I mean, I'll tell you what, Austin, I'm a little overwhelmed after that last run.
Yeah, that was intense. I was A, surprised Corey held on to it, and B, they were door banging and slipping and sliding all over the place for the last 5 or so laps. I'm surprised we just now went to yellow, seemingly without a cause. I don't see anything nefarious on the racetrack, but I can tell you that Corey Casagrande threw the caution flag.
Here you go. Down pit road comes Steve Daddio with a massive advantage with the lead that he opened up on the pace lap. That's going to make it really hard for anyone to get around him on pit road unless someone tries to take 2 tires and roll the dice. But I think that's a gamble. You don't often see that in these trucks. They just don't handle well on 2 tires. But as you can see, they've all come down pit road except for Adam Henry and Tim Shinovsky. We'll see if anyone rolls the dice here.
Yeah, Steve gave himself about a 4-second lead, not quite enough to protect himself from Jeff Bradway taking 2, but we'll see how things play out.
All right, so as we can see, we do have all trucks now down on pit road. Our pit reporters are trying to get some information out of these crew chiefs, but the crew chiefs are being very tight-lipped. They don't want to let the handle off this. And here we go. Steve Daddio 4. Brent Roy 2 tires on that 26 truck. Same thing for Corey Casagrande. I should have known if anyone was going to do it, it was going to be Camry, who's fresh off a win in the June 500 earlier today. So congratulations to him on that. Ryan Messer taking 2 tires as well. This is going to be an epic restart. And I think we'll probably get the green flag with 3 or 4 laps to go.
Yeah, this is going to make for an interesting real attempt at a green-white checkered. We'll see how things shake out, John. I think you might be right, about 3 or 4 laps to go here. Interesting that we had Henry and Shinosky stay out. I think right now they're just banking on the fact there's two of them. They can go too wide, and they got to be hoping these guys are going to get into each other before they get a chance to get passed by the rest of the field. See how things shake out there. So Henry is going to choose the inside lane here for this restart, and I think they're going to go green with 4 laps to go. He'll have Tim Shinosky in that 40 truck to his outside. Then Steve Daddy will restart in 3rd. He'll have Brett Roy starting to his outside in 4th, and then it's Steve Bradway in that 13 machine on the inside there of row number 3. Ryan Messer starts at his outside, and Rob Peterson, Zane Farrell round out the first 4 rows. iRacing Pace Truck already down on pit road. Let's see when Adam Henry goes. Is he's going to go at the start of the box, the middle of the box, the end of the box? I think he's got to start early to surprise these drivers, but his tires are old. They might slip a lot. Let's see what happens.
Got to go early.
He went early, caught Tim Shinosky sleeping. That's going to open the door right now for Steve Daddio down there on the bottom. He's got Jeff Bradway in his tire tracks, and Adam Henry going to leave. Oh, he did not leave the bottom of the track open for Steve Daddio. He's going to go to the high side. He'll have Jeff Bradway right behind him. Tim Shinosky dropping like a rock already. Steve Daddio now going to the lead. Jeff Bradway and Brett Roy jockeying for position back and forth. Let's see if they make it 3 wide. Everybody's thinking better of it so far.
Oh, big slides out of these race trucks. I saw Brent Roy.
Oh, there goes Farrell off the corner, already spinning around. He's off the racetrack, but iRacing's still going to throw the caution. Sorry, John.
Oh, wow, that was bound to happen. We watched all kinds of trucks slide sideways on that first lap, just trying to get every ounce of speed out of these trucks. That's what I was saying on 2 tires. It's a real risky proposition. So we'll try to get a look here at what happened to Zane Farrell to bring out this caution. Just no grip in these trucks, especially on a quick start. You're really pushing hard. You can see Zane just lost the back end of that number 14 beautiful race truck there, and ultimately does a 360 with pretty nice. Credit to him. But that's not what he was looking for there. You could also see some guys really jockeying for lanes. I think Jeff Bradway was pretty aggressive there to try to stay with Steve Daddio. You saw Brent Roy kind of looking middle, looking top. And Adam Henry also had to play a lot of defense, but he did let Steve Daddio get to his outside, that's a tough thing to allow this late in the race. But I think Steve's now in a great spot. What'll be interesting to watch is, does Adam Henry stay out and keep his spot in second? And if he does, who lines up behind him on this restart?
Yeah, it's all going to depend on where Steve Daddio lines up. It'll, of course, put Adam Henry in the other lane. Tim Shinosky brings his number 40 machine down on pit road to get that Bucky's Mobile service by his pit crew. And, John, I think it's worth saying, too, the reason we see all these accidents only in the first couple laps after we go back green flag racing is when these trucks have fresh tires, they are the loosest they're going to be all run. They only build tighter as they put more laps onto them.
Yeah, especially at this racetrack, you're going to use a lot of the right front to make passes. You can see that when you're trying to pass someone on the bottom, most often your truck feels really tight. You're getting a guy that sits on your door. So that's going to be the first tire to go. And that's also going to make it even harder to pass later in these runs. But for the most part, I think these guys have fresh enough tires, so they don't really have to worry about that yet. They're just going to go full steam ahead to try to get to the finish here.
So far, it looks like only Tim Shinosky went down pit road. Everybody else is choosing to let it ride on the tires they're currently on. Kind of surprised there. Messer didn't come down pit road to get a change of tires. He might be all out.
All
This, of
right, so
course, is the first attempt at the green-white checkers. There could be one more if these drivers wreck again before the white flag waves. So if the caution comes out before one lap to go, we'll get another one. If it comes out after that, that's it. That's the end of the race. Timing and scoring is frozen. Everything's official.
again, if I'm Steve Daddio and I'm leading this race, there's no incentive to wait in the box. You go as soon as possible to get as far enough out in front as you can to try to get away from these guys. You can see even Brent Royce lagging back to try to time a run on Adam Henry. If I'm at home, I'm watching this outside lane here to see what transpires as these guys go into turn 1 and 2.
Yeah, Brent Roy, he's leaving about a whole truck length between himself and Adam Henry. Of course, he's got his teammate Ryan Messer just behind him. Adam Henry with a little bit of a lead there going into the box. That's definitely going to help surprise him. Steve Daddio goes as soon as they get to the box. That's going to kill any momentum from the outside lane. Adam Henry going real wide, just basically begging everyone else to get to his inside. Steve Daddio, though, with a wonderful jump off the line. They're already 2 and 3 wide behind him. So all Steve needs to do right now is look out the windshield.
Oh, Brent Roy mistimed it by about a millimeter, but here we go. Jeff Bradway is there as they come down to the white flag. He's going to hug the yellow line and try to get a run on Steve Daddio, but he does what he does best, take the air away from the 13 truck as we have one to go.
Boy, both trucks a little sideways there as they bounce off the apron. Jeff Bradway gets just barely down to the inside of Steve Daddio. Let's see what happens here as they come off of turn 2. Going to be a drag race. Bradway gets a little bit loose. That's going to give Steve Daddio a big lead as they head into turns 3 and 4. Let's see if anybody can make a last second dive. It's going to be all 99 truck as they come off the final quarter. Steve Daddio wins here at Phoenix.
It's a great drive by that 99 truck. He did everything he needed to do on that last restart. He put his truck in the right spots. And I'll tell you what, credit to Jeff Bradway for opting to lift out of that 13 in the middle of the corner there, because that could have ended differently, but they raced it out fair and square. And what a great race, Austin.
Yeah, that was fantastic. We had a lot of side-by-side racing all the way up and down through the field. We're going to take a quick break. You're going to see some highlights here. When we come back, we'll go ahead and talk to Steve. We'll talk to the driver that finished in second place for this race. That's the number 13 machine of Jeff Bradway. And then we'll pick someone else out of the rest of the field and talk to them. We'll be right back.
Sure, I know how that's going to end. Larry McReynolds here with the NASCAR on Fox. I hope you're doing well and staying safe and that you're enjoying this 2022 NASCAR Cup Series season.
Oh my
Hard to
God.
believe, John, halfway through the regular season, 13 down and 13 to go. And we've already had 11 different winners with 3 first-time winners, including Austin Cindric, who won that Daytona 500. Now, someone tell me
My God.
congratulations is in order, John. I want to personally congratulate you for being the 3-time NEP Grand National Series champion for the iRacing League that you race in. That is amazing, John. You should be very, very proud of what you've accomplished there. Now, I hear you're a huge NASCAR fan and that you do a pretty good job of impersonating the old American coach Larry Mack here. You know what? I find that very, very flattering that you do impersonate me. But again, congratulations, John. Enjoy this very, very much. That is an amazing thing that you have accomplished there. Take care, stay safe, and God bless. And I want to end with this, John. According to old Larry Mack's trends, a man that's won 3 consecutive championships, he is destined to win the 4th. Congratulations, John. Take care.
Welcome back to Phoenix International Raceway. We just finished a full 64 laps of racing. Steve Daddio took the win there, started in the 5th position in that 99 machine. Jeff Bradway finished in second. We'll go ahead and take a look at the race results here. So you see Steve Daddy in one, Jeff Bradway in the second position. Rob Peterson rounds out your podium, and Brent Roy. Tell you what, John, I did not imagine that 26 truck was going to come through the field with the way the first couple laps of this race went for him, but he'll get a spot just inside the top five there. Ryan Messer, his 229 teammate, rounds out the top five. Corey Casagrande brings it home in the sixth position with Adam Henry in seventh, Zane Farrell in eighth, Alexander Spinato in ninth. Tim Shinoski rounds out the top 10 with the 94, Paul Strickland Jr. in the 11th position. Gentleman Jeff Brown, an unfortunate victim of a lot of other people's mistakes there was Gentleman Jeff tonight. He'll bring it home in the 12th spot. Ryan Libby led the majority of this race to start, pretty much led every lap until he decided to disconnect from the session. And then Jared Adams in 14th and Cody Wilson in 15th. Let's go ahead and see if we can't get the winner of the race here. Steve Daddio up into the booth. Mr. Steve Daddio, you got a copy, buddy.
I got you there, Austin.
Steve, what a masterclass, man. Started the race off in fifth. Looked like you were one of the best guys at just kind of conserving your tires, letting the truck come to you. And then, of course, when the opportunity came, you were the first guy out there on four fresh Goodyears. You snagged it and never looked back.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, just I guess again, not a lot of laps here, so just trying to feel the truck out a little bit. It seemed like everybody was pushing it in the beginning, and the tires really show up late in those runs there. So I did take advantage early. I think I worked my way up to second there. But then again, clean air. Libby was just so fast. I don't know what happened to him, but he had a real good chance to win this race too. But yeah, conserve for the first bit and then execute. Crazy how different turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 are. It's I had a just completely different mentality going in, just trying to go as fast as I could in 1 and 2 and as slow as I could in 3 and 4 to get her load down, and that seemed to be the formula here to get us that win.
Steve, we saw a caution come out there, giving you guys about 4 or 5 laps to go before that green white checker we had. What was going through your mind when you saw that caution come out?
Uh, a lot of things. Probably that there's going to be some more cautions. I was again trying to be smart with my tires, but I didn't want to take them too late and end up in the back of the pack because on the Discord with those guys, I think they were having way more fun than I was, and I was leading the race.
Yeah, Steve, before I let you go, I just want to give you the floor. Thank everybody that makes this whole thing possible for the 99 machine.
That is Auto Parts, Reverie Brewing, YRD, Norton Family. You guys up in the booth. Thanks for calling the race, Sal, for putting it on, and everybody back at home watching, supporting. This is always a lot of fun to get the race, with you guys and in front of everybody else, and then finally ourselves. Thanks a lot for throwing this on. It's good to scratch the itch during the summertime.
Excellent. Well, Steve, congratulations once again. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you guys. Have a good night.
Steve Daddy, a winner here at Phoenix, and John's going to take it over and give our friend Jeff Bradway opportunity to go ahead and let us know how his race went. He finished in second position today.
I'm down here on pit road with Jeff Bradway. He just climbed out of the race truck, and you can see the emotion on his face. He really left it all out there. And Jeff, let's get right to it. I mean, take me through your thought process when the white flag falls and you can see Daddy-O's Auto Parts right out in front of your sniffer. What was going through your mind?
Uh, Honestly, I thought maybe I had a chance to get him. I got a little too tight underneath him and ran right up into him. So I gave it my all. That is for sure.
I have to tell you, I was impressed, and I gained a lot of respect for you when you went down into turn 1 and 2, and you were right up on the inside of that 99 truck, and you could have run him up the racetrack. You could have muscled him out of the groove a little bit, and you didn't. So respectable finish. Also, tell us for the viewers at home about the struggles of trying to pass on this racetrack tonight. We talked a lot about the air affecting the trucks, and then also how the tires would wear out through the run.
I noticed that if you cross the wake of somebody, it definitely got you pretty loose pretty quick. And it was more of a trying to set him up if you could beat him into the corner and try and clear him, which was, I'm sure you saw most of the race. I was trying to use the dog leg as much as I could to get them by the next turn. and it would work. It's just if I didn't get clear, it was hard to pass, and I just didn't know how that restart was gonna go with old tires and new tires mixed, and it was just chaotic trying to figure out, can I go here? Can I go there?
Well, it was a great race nonetheless, and congratulations on a great second place run. Who gets you to the racetrack?
Thank you, thank you. I'd like to thank Tilcon for sponsoring me and PRS for the great truck design, and my friends and family that were watching tonight.
All right, that's Jeff Bradway, your runner up tonight.
Thank you.
Uh, two times now I have tried to drag Ryan Messer up into the waiting room, and he goes in and moves himself. Let's see if we can't get him in the booth. Ryan, John and I chose you as our driver to interview for tonight. Had a bit of an up and down race there. John kind of chose you for your differing strategy. First off, just talk me through the race overall.
Yeah, that was a pretty wild one. It was a lot of fun though. We took it serious, but not really. So, kind of kept the fun in it. But it was pretty crazy. Tried to do an off strategy, and Corey soiled that pretty quick with a surprise yellow. But anyway, we had no tires for the middle part of it, so it wasn't driving very good. Got some tires at the end, but had to start at the back and couldn't quite get up through. But it was a lot of fun.
Ryan, did you feel like you had enough tire fall off in the first run to really make the new tires a big advantage there in early part of the run?
No, I knew it wouldn't be much different, and I wasn't even gonna take tires, and I kind of I forgot to turn them off. But I wanted the fuel because I wanted to try to go the whole rest of the race if we didn't have a yellow. I should have known we were probably going to get a yellow, but I wanted to try something different.
Now, talk to us about the different things you were dealing with in the truck tonight, because it looked like the air was a pretty significant factor. We saw a lot of guys also spin out on the first lap of a run, like the tires are super slick. So just describe some of those challenges for the viewers at home.
Yeah, the air, the tires, cold tires, that was a big one. The seven, um, there was all kinds of stuff you really had to watch. Yeah, for sure. It's tough sledding out here.
Well, Ryan, I certainly don't blame you for trying there on that restart to just get enough fuel to finish the race because, race number one, we had quick caution or two and then went the rest of the way. So it would have worked out very well in your favor. But either way, Ryan, who makes it possible for you to get this number one at the racetrack? And 9 times out of 10, I feel like, especially last season NEP, finish in the number one spot.
Yeah, hopefully this year we can continue on a little more of that. No, I just got to thank the NEP guys for putting all this stuff on, and you guys for broadcasting. So this summer series is new, so that's pretty cool to be able to do. So hopefully we'll be able to run a few more in the coming weeks.
Excellent. Ryan, thank you so much again for your time.
Thank you.
Go ahead and look at the points update here. If we can get that going, Steve Daddio takes over the lead, tied right now provisionally with Brent Roy, then Jeff Bradway in the third spot, tied with Corey Casagrande, and then two drivers there tied for fifth position, Zane Farrell and Ryan Messer. Next week, we'll be heading to USA Speedway for round 3 of the Summer Series. I'll be joined in the booth by Steve Daddio. Again, we'll be swapping out the color commentator among a few different drivers for this series. First was Kenny, then John Peters, and next week, we should have Steve Daddio up here with Sal and I. On behalf of myself, Austin Belke, my booth mate, John Peters, as well as our director, Ryan Salvatore, thank you so much for watching, and good night.